We are now talking to 12-year NFL linebacker Chris Draft. Chris, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Just listening to you guys jam with with Brandon a little bit, and giving love to Georgia since I live down here in Atlanta also.
Oh, good. So you can hang out with Brandon and go check out his son, who's a behemoth. I heard he's like 6'6", 260 pounds. The kid's 15 years old. This guy's a five-star recruit. He's got Georgia looking at him. He's got Alabama looking at him. LSU looking at him. I mean, it's ridiculous. These kids are getting looked at 15. When you were playing in high school, were you getting looked at the age of 15 years old?
They would look at you. They would
Mm-hmm.
look at you, but I think there's way more attention in terms of that looking now, where you have more visibility of young people. So it's not just say some scouts that saw you or something like that, or there was a paper that saw it. Now people can see you on social media and they're like, holy crap, that dude really can play. And you can see it all over the place. So if there was somebody amazing in Georgia, people in California can see them, people in Cali can see the folks in Jersey real easy versus just kind of speculating on how good are
Hmm. Well, how are you and your family doing? We haven't. This is the first time you've been on a show. COVID was going around for 2 years. How are you and your family doing from all of that craziness over the last couple of years?
Well, it definitely created challenges in certain ways, but I think with so many things, when you take a football mindset to a problem, really looking more at the things that you can control rather than worrying about the things that you can, it helps get you through. And so there was some real opportunities with the cancer advocacy work that I do to use technology and actually bring a community together that much greater because as I was going around before physically meeting people, so much of the issue was not that I physically met them, but I wanted them to meet everybody else. And I needed them to talk and build relationships consistently. And the only way that that could happen was through using technology. And even though I wanted it to happen, it only could happen when it was forced to happen. And so, that was a silver lining of cancer advocacy by, unfortunately, with the pandemic.
As everybody knows, we are talking to 12-year NFL linebacker Chris Draft.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask you about your foundation. I know you've done a lot of research and different events with lung cancer, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, what have you been able to accomplish, and some of the experiences you've had at doing all that throughout your foundation, and what
Yeah.
stories have you been trying to promote to spread awareness?
Awesome, man. It's crazy. We've been talking about trauma, man, and really transition based on what happened to Damar with the Buffalo Bills just on Monday night. And, it's made it where not just that conversation, but really, it's made it where a lot of guys have been able, we've been able to talk about this trauma that's happened in their life. And I say that based on the fact that when someone asked about my transition out of the game, so I played 12 years. 13 was with the Redskins at the time in training camp and got released. So I was at home, and in December of 2010, my then girlfriend, my future wife, got diagnosed with lung cancer. She
Mm.
was in amazing shape. Again, no history of smoking, challenging me to do P90X and run a 10K race. I mean, she was this amazing shape. And out of nowhere, had a little shortness of breath. Went into her primary care doc, and they found, through an X-ray, they found a mass in her left lung. And basically, right after Christmas, so when you get, like Christmas time is totally different for me, and that the 2 days after Christmas in 2010 is when we confirmed that she had a mass in her lung and that it was lung cancer. Uh, you know, New Year's is it's like a PET scan. Right after the New Year is knowing that it's stage 4 lung cancer. The other thing is then she passed on December 27th,
Mm.
2011. And so, these dates, these holidays are really different. But also we got a chance to get married November 27th, 2011. And
Congratulations,
that's
by the
really,
way. Yeah.
and that was, in 2011. And that's where our the advocacy really was able to move forward. And that is when my wife came to me before that day and said, what if we don't get presents? What if we ask our family and friends to support the foundation at that time, and as we create an initiative that is focused on changing the face of lung cancer and fighting for the lung cancer community. And so it's, in that vein that, that I've continued the work that was started by my wife with her commitment, that really was a commitment to knowing that it takes a team to be able to make a difference. And, it's kind of crazy because I know about team by being an NFL player. And so many people, they say, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I got to go get my team in alignment. And if we want to have a great team, we got to go find captains. And so the first year I went to 60 cancer centers to find those captains of the medical community. And then also at the same time, taking survivors to games to find our captains as it relates to our survivors and our advocates. And getting a consensus that says if we want things to change, are we willing to stand up and fight for it? And so that's really been our mission of changing the face of lung cancer, is letting people know that anyone can get it, understanding that screening is an option for certain people. We need to max that out. Incidental nodules, we need to max that out. That there are treatment options that people are doing tremendously well on, and we need to make sure everybody that can benefit from it gets it. We need to think about access as it relates to clinical trials, the importance of research, and then more than anything, we just need to love people where they are and help guide them through this traumatic experience that's called cancer.
We are talking to 12-year NFL ex-vet linebacker Chris Draft. And Chris, fantastic at what you're doing with everything, all the money that you're raising for cancer. And that's a crazy story. And the fact that your wife has gone through that and she's fine now, it's fantastic.
Oh. No, so I'm sorry on that. She passed December 27th, 2011.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It was only a year. It was a year after her diagnosis.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Well, I was saying this, that she committed to understanding that it will be a team. And I give you that based on how football works, is that when we commit and we know that something matters, we know it has to be greater. It has to live beyond any one particular player, And so my wife was this amazing player, but if the NFL mindset reminds us that we can always lose somebody. We need to, basically maximize the person while they're there, while they're willing to stand, as she was willing to do, but also acknowledge that they can pass. But the movement has to continue.
Well, I will tell you this: you're a strong man, and to go through what you went through, and then come out of it and do what you're doing, raising money for that. Just amazing, foundation. I give you a lot of credit. It's a great story.
Thank you.
Let's get into your career. And you had a very interesting career. You played 12 years. You played for a lot of different NFC teams. You played for Chicago, San Francisco, Atlanta, Carolina, St. Louis, and Washington. You did play for the Buffalo Bills. But you were drafted by the Chicago Bears. And the Bears, for years, they know how to draft linebackers. They really do. And we can go up and down the list of great linebackers that they've had over the years.
And running backs.
And running backs, by the way. What was it like being drafted? Obviously, you were drafted in the sixth round, 157th overall. What was it like hearing your name in 1998?
Well, It's exciting because it's finally here. I mean, it's your dream to be able to play, and then it's a reality. And it's the Chicago Bears. The people that grew up across the street from me in Anaheim were from Chicago, and so one of the guys was like my older brother, and so even though I grew up in Anaheim, California, I knew the Chicago Bears. I knew the 85 Bears. I had to understand the importance of the Super Bowl shuffle. There was nobody better than Sweetness. If you talk to him, that was it. Walter Payton is absolutely the man. But again, when you have a Bears fan, nobody can touch Sweetness. So being drafted was it was real. But at the same time, it's not just being drafted, because what that does is tell you where you're going to go live, but really more where you're going to go compete. And so, it's this, kind of, yes, it happened and I'm going to Chicago, but yes, I'm going to Chicago and I got to go compete, because the only way to stay in Chicago is I got to go establish myself and go get it. And so I would say that's the hard part of that, that transition is, yes, it's a great thing. And that's what, people talk about, but it's not a done thing, because, the greatness of the NFL is the competition. That's what makes the teams better. Brandon talked about iron sharpens iron. That's why he was taking his son to Beaufort, Georgia. Well, that is the NFL. Iron sharpens iron. And unfortunately, or fortunately, there's not enough space for everybody. So some people are going to stay and some people are going to leave.
So you actually played in Carolina for a couple of years with Thomas Davis, a guy that's battled a lot throughout his career too. He was a young player when you were there. I think he was a rookie.
Fantastic linebacker, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic. A guy that's gone through a lot. So what was he like as a teammate on and off of the field? And
so TD was my rookie. He was my rookie in 2005, and he's from Georgia. So he definitely was a Falcons fan growing up, and so the first mini camp he walked up on me, kind of came right to the side of me, and he said, "Mr. Dre, you are my favorite player with the Falcons." Nice. And needless to say that I think I was about 29 at the time. If you want to feel old, well, that's a good way to feel a little bit old. That's what I'm gonna say. Hey, Thomas, you just call me Chris, man. We'll be all right. But it was amazing just to see him evolve. I mean, his athleticism just was undeniable, and just his heart and grit that people were able to see when he came back from injuries, and then just his evolution as it relates to connecting with the community, where people got to see this passion for the game early, but then they got to see the passion for community as he grew as a Panther and as a Charger, that culminated with him being the Man of the Year. And so, I mean, I can't be more happy for him. I mean, he's done just tremendous work. He's been married for a while now, kids, and just, I mean, really has took advantage of being able to play the game, enjoy the game, and really love the people that were around him while he was playing.